All right, so we're diving into something today that I think is on every parent's mind these days.
Definitely.
Keeping our kids safe
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
I mean, it can feel like a minefield out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
New apps every day, and
Yeah.
you hear these horror stories.
Right.
It's scary.
It is.
So we've been digging into some research on this, and we want to kind of equip you with some strategies.
Some tools.
Yeah, some tools to at least feel a little bit more like you have a handle on this whole thing.
Totally.
So, one of the things that really struck me in reading through this research was how much emphasis they put on just understanding the landscape.
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly changing, right?
Right. And that's part of what makes it so difficult.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, as soon as you think you've got a grip on, okay, here are the rules, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to keep our kids safe, bam, some new thing.
A new platform pops up.
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
And you feel like you're starting all over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where do you even begin with that?
Well, I think, the research really highlighted two things that are really foundational. And I know it might sound kind of basic.
Okay.
But they're really important to keep coming back to, and that's setting clear boundaries.
Right.
And fostering that open communication.
Yeah. I mean, those two things came up over and over again.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? Because
Yeah.
boundaries, when we're talking to the online world, which can feel so limitless.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere, you can do anything.
It's like the Wild West out there.
Exactly. So kids need those boundaries. They need that structure.
So what would you say are some examples of setting those boundaries? I mean, is it like screen time?
Yeah. Screen time's a big one.
Okay.
Having rules about which apps and websites they can use, maybe using content filtering tools.
Right.
All of those things kind of create that structure.
That container.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the communication piece? Because I
Yeah.
think that's, for me, that always feels really tricky.
Right.
Like, how do you actually get your kids to talk to you about what they're seeing and doing online?
Well, and I think that goes back to building that trust.
Yeah.
Creating an environment where they feel comfortable coming to you, even if they think they messed up.
Yeah.
Even if they did something they weren't supposed to, that they feel like they can come to you
And
and
not get in trouble.
Right, exactly. Because they know that you're going to help them, you're going to guide them.
Right. So it's almost like it's not just about laying down the law.
No, it's about having a conversation.
It's about, having the dialogue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, this is something I remember when my son first wanted a social media profile.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember that day with my oldest.
And it was like this moment of realizing, okay, they're stepping into this world and they need more than just don't talk to strangers.
Exactly.
Like they need the tools to actually navigate this.
Right. And I think the research used this phrase digital literacy.
Yes.
And I think that's such a good way to put it, because it's not just about saying don't do this, don't do that.
It's about giving them the skills.
Yes, to make those smart choices on their own.
To think critically about what they're seeing.
Right.
To question things, to recognize those red flags,
Yeah.
And it encompasses so much, It's understanding privacy settings.
Right. How to protect themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's recognizing phishing scams.
I mean, it's stuff that even we as adults
Exactly.
sometimes fall for.
And it's evaluating sources, like where is this information coming from?
Yeah.
It's managing their online reputation,
Which is something that didn't exist when we were kids.
Wasn't even a concept, right?
Right. Like all those embarrassing photos are just in a shoebox somewhere.
Right. They're not living on the internet forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So these are skills that they need.
It's almost like we need to treat it as a separate subject.
I know, I agree.
Like in school, like you have math, you have science, you have
Digital literacy.
Yeah, it's that important.
It is, absolutely.
Because it really is. It's the world they live in.
And the great thing is, the more we empower them
Right.
with these digital literacy skills, the more it reinforces that open communication.
Oh, interesting. So it all kind of ties together.
It does. It does, because when they feel confident in their own abilities to navigate that world,
Right.
they're more likely to come to you.
To come to you, to be open. Yeah.
When they have questions, when they encounter something that makes them uncomfortable.
Right. So it really does create that positive cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got the boundaries, we've got the communication, we've got the digital literacy piece. Now, one of the things that this research also mentioned was, kind of learning from other parents
Yeah.
who have been there.
Been there, done that, learned a few things along the way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we don't have, specific stories. But I think even just the idea of that,
Right.
like tapping into that collective wisdom is so valuable.
It is, and there are so many resources out there for that. Like, think about online parenting forums,
Yes.
support groups, even webinars that are hosted by cybersecurity experts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much out there.
And it's such a good way to kind of realize you're not alone in this.
Exactly.
Because I think as parents, it's so easy to feel like you're the only one
Yeah,
who's
absolutely.
struggling with this or who's, having a hard time figuring it out.
Yeah, but just knowing that other people are having the same conversations,
Yeah.
facing the same challenges, it makes you feel less alone.
Yeah, and I love the idea of sharing strategies,
Yeah.
and even just venting, like sometimes you just need to get it out.
Absolutely.
Like, I can't believe this happened, or,
Yeah.
how do I deal with this?
And you get great ideas from other people
Exactly.
who have tried different things. And maybe they have something that worked really well that you haven't even thought of.
Yeah, okay, so it's like building a network for the digital age.
Absolutely.
I like that. All right, so I guess to kind of sum it all up, it sounds like, open communication, clear boundaries, and that solid foundation of digital literacy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really the
I
cornerstones
think so, yeah.
of keeping our kids safe online.
And as you think about putting these strategies into action,
Yeah.
I think a really important question to ask yourself is, how can you tailor these general principles to your specific family dynamic?
Right, because everybody's different.
Every child is different. Their online activities will change as they grow. Their interests will change.
Yeah, their needs will change.
Exactly. So it's not a one-size-fits-all
Right.
kind of approach.
Right, so it's really about taking these ideas
Yeah,
and then figuring out what works for your family.
exactly. And having those conversations with
Yeah.
your kids, and it's an ongoing process.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point to end on, because I think, it's easy to feel like, okay, if we just get this one thing right, then we're good.
Right.
But it's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a process.
Yeah,
And we're all learning as we go.
absolutely.
So, think of this deep dive as a starting point.
A springboard.
Yeah, springboard
Yeah.
for those ongoing conversations and those adjustments.
Because this digital world's not going away.
It's not going anywhere.
No,
We're all in it together trying to figure it out.
exactly.
All right, well, thank you so much for this. This was great. I feel like I even learned a lot.
Oh, good. Me too.
And I'm sure our listeners did as well. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see everybody next time.